So what if they've never won the Champions League? So what if Real Madrid have 15 of them? Los Blancos have lived their glorious years basking in the limelight, while Arsenal have endured decades of heartbreak. But for the fans who've stuck with the Gunners for 10, maybe 20 years or more, all they've ever longed for is a single moment, a legendary night at the Emirates when the boys in red would go toe-to-toe with the kings of Europe and rain down chaos. Tonight they got it. Those goals were so outrageous, so jaw-droppingly brilliant, even Bum had to grab his phone and scream in disbelief. It was pure, unfiltered joy, the kind of football that blindsides you, even if you're Real Madrid. A draw would have been acceptable for Los Blancos under normal circumstances, but tonight, Madrid were shattered. They were ripped apart, right in the heart of London. From the opening whistle at the Emirates, the air was heavy with anticipation. You could feel it in every roar, every blazing stare from the crowd. The Arsenal players knew exactly who they were up against. Real Madrid, royalty of the Champions League, a name that strikes fear across Europe. But fear? That wasn't part of Arsenal's vocabulary tonight. Opportunities to face a club like Madrid don't come often, and you only fear what you truly understand. Arsenal? They were just thrilled to be here. But they also knew they couldn't let down the supporters who had believed in them through it all. At the very least, they couldn't lose. And if they won, who knows what doors might open next. The first half was a proper chess match, high-intensity pressing from both sides and a blistering tempo. Arsenal entered the game with stunning confidence, unfazed by the reputation of their opponents. Their signature wing play became a deadly weapon, with Bukayo Saka fresh off a long layoff looking like he'd never left. From his very first touch, he had David Alaba scrambling, creating dangerous situations down the right flank. On the other side, Carlo Ancelotti set Madrid up to counterattack, aiming to unleash the pace of Vinícius Jr. and Kylian Mbappé. But the feared duo found themselves shackled by Arsenal's disciplined defensive unit. In midfield, Declan Rice and Thomas Partey completely neutralized Madrid's build-up. Jude Bellingham, Eduardo Camavinga, Luka Modric, none of them could get into rhythm. Arsenal's high press disrupted everything. Madrid's game became disjointed, sloppy, and predictable. The scoreline stayed 0-0 at the break, but the energy and momentum were all Arsenal. They hadn't scored yet, but it felt like the floodgates were creaking open. And then, just minutes into the second half, Arsenal rewrote the script. What looked like an innocuous foul, Alaba bringing down Saka, led to a set piece from 30 yards out. Declan Rice stepped up, the angle was wide, but Rice bent a masterpiece around the wall, curling the ball off the post and into the net. Courtois flew, full stretch, but he had no chance. It was a goal straight out of Roberto Carlos' playbook, and fittingly, the cameras panned to the Brazilian legend in the stands, one glorious memory saluting another. But Arsenal weren't finished. Just 12 minutes later, Rice did it again, this time closer to goal and dead center. No curl, no theatrics, just raw power. A thunderbolt into the top left corner, unstoppable. No goalkeeper in history is saving that. I'll go on record and say it. These are the kinds of free kicks you only expect from Messi, Beckham, or Pirlo. But tonight, Declan Rice was the star under the lights. And it's worth noting, both goals came from situations created by Saka. He didn't score, but his presence unhinged Madrid's backline, forcing them into reckless tackles. Every time he touched the ball, the crowd held its breath, waiting for magic. And when he came off in the 74th minute, having been fouled relentlessly, the entire Emirates rose to applaud a truly electrifying performance. 1 minute later, the roof blew off the stadium again. This time, it was Mikel Merino on the score sheet. After a smart pass from Lewis Kelly, he took no touch, just placed it with his left foot into the far corner. 3-0. Just like that. In less than 20 minutes, Arsenal had dismantled the most decorated team in Europe. No one saw this coming. But honestly, this was the reward for a young, fearless, and perfectly drilled side that never stopped believing. After years of doubt and disappointment, Arsenal have finally come of age. They fear no one now. Watch them play, and you see the meticulous preparation in every pass, every press, every run. Yes, they still line up in their familiar 4-3-3, but Arteta's tactical fluidity turned it into a layered masterpiece. One standout tonight, Oleksandr Zinchenko. Nominally a left back, but drifting centrally to act as a second defensive midfielder, giving Partey and Rice the extra body they needed to control the midfield. And control it they did. Madrid were second best in the middle of the park all night. The trio of Partey, Rice and Odegaard was sublime, breaking up play, moving the ball seamlessly and orchestrating attacks. Odegaard in particular, with his vision, incisive passes and calm under pressure, was the conductor. Out wide, Arsenal kept hammering away, Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right, constantly stretching Madrid's backline and creating space for midfield surges or rapid switches of play. Arsenal's high-pressing strategy was executed to near perfection, throwing Madrid's backline, so used to building from the back, completely off balance from the opening moments. In contrast, Real Madrid failed to display their usual identity. Ancelotti adjusted his shape defensively to a 4-4-2, pushing Vinícius and Mbappé up front while shifting Bellingham out left. But the switch yielded little success. Vinícius was almost completely shut down by Timber and Saliba, Rodrigo was a ghost, and even Mbappé, for all his effort, couldn't find the space to work his magic. Madrid's midfield with Camavinga and Modric was suffocated, unable to string passes together or take control of the game. They lacked creativity, they lacked rhythm. Even though Courtois pulled off a few brilliant saves, he was powerless against the three absolute rockets fired by Arsenal. The look on Mbappé's stunned face after Rice's wonder goals said it all. It was a nightmare night for Real Madrid, and it only got worse. Late in the match, Camavinga lost his cool, booted the ball away in frustration and earned his second yellow card, meaning he's now suspended for the second leg. It wasn't just a reckless personal mistake, it was a snapshot of a team completely undone. This win over Los Blancos wasn't just a scoreline, it was a historic milestone in Arsenal's long road back to Europe's elite. Nearly 2 decades have passed since they last beat Madrid in 2006, and tonight felt like a full-circle moment. But this time, the spotlight didn't belong to the legends of old, it shined squarely on Declan Rice and Arsenal's new golden generation. The biggest difference? In 2006, Arsenal scraped by with a narrow win. Tonight, they dominated the reigning champions by 3 goals. They're no longer the promising youngsters they once were. This Arsenal side is mature, disciplined, and ruthlessly effective. Mikel Arteta is rightfully being hailed as one of Europe's finest tacticians. Under his leadership, Arsenal are not only beautiful to watch, but brutally efficient. This squad is built on balance, creativity meets steel, flair meets tactical intelligence. And with a performance like this, they've sent a clear message to the rest of Europe. Arsenal are back, and this time they're not just along for the ride. Between youth and experience, chaos and control, emotion and discipline, every player on that pitch, from keeper to striker, understood their role in the bigger tactical picture. And yet, despite trailing 3-0, the door to the semi-finals isn't completely closed for Real Madrid. If there's any team in world football that has the pedigree to turn things around at the Bernabéu, it's Los Blancos. Champions League history has seen Madrid pull off the impossible before, and Arteta knows it. One moment of carelessness could undo everything Arsenal has built. That's why he'll demand nothing less than laser focus, iron discipline, and unwavering belief in Madrid next week. Arsenal must prove all over again that they belong. Still, with the form they're in, Arsenal have every right to dream big. The Champions League no longer feels like a fantasy. After a legendary night at the Emirates, Arsenal have proven they're not just participants, they're contenders. Real contenders. Capable of going toe-to-toe with Europe's most iconic club. April 9, 2025 marked the date. North London will remember it forever, a victory not just in numbers but in heart, in belief, in footballing artistry. The return leg at the Bernabéu will be the ultimate test of Arsenal's ambition and pedigree, but if they pass it, there will be no more doubts. Arsenal are ready to climb to the very top of European football, and this glittering night at the Emirates will be etched into that journey forever.